Hi, I'm Kim from We Smell the Rain. We're an Amsterdam-based design studio and we create nature-inspired installations and products. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a Kokedama, one of these guys. And we're going to make this one. She's beautiful. So you might ask, what is a Kokedama? Well, it's a traditional Japanese art form. They used to call it the poor man's bonsai. And the reason that is because bonsai trees were really expensive back in the days. And this way, anyone could make a little bonsai Kokedama for themselves by using any type of plant and putting it into this ball of mud and moss. So I hope you're looking forward to it. We're going to get started with our tools and materials. So the tools we'll be needing today is a jug of water, a mug, 2 types of cotton, a thin one and a thicker one to wrap your ball. We need a mister and a nice big bowl to make your mud ball in, and don't forget a pair of scissors. The natural materials you need to get are sheet moss, nice and green, some sphagnum moss and some earth. Normal indoor plant soil is totally fine. And don't forget a beautiful plant with a nice stem. You'll be off on your way. So basically what is inside, or how a Kokedama is made, is by making a mud ball, putting a plant inside it and stunting the roots of the plant, and then putting it all together by covering it in moss and some thread of some sort. There are 4 stages to making a Kokedama. The first stage is making the mud ball. The second stage is cleaning the moss, getting it ready. And the third stage is prepping the plant, binding the roots. And the last stage is compiling it all together and wrapping it up with your string of whatever choice you want. So let's talk about plant choice. Today, we're going to use an areca palm. This is an areca palm, beautiful leaves and a very high stem. Right, let's prepare the moss. Okay, so what you need is some soil. Today we're just using normal potting mix, but you can also use 3 cups of bonsai to 7 cups of potting mix. And that's also a nice combination. It makes the mud more sticky. So you need some soil, sorry. We're going to create the mud in here, so obviously you need some water. And a really good idea is to have a tea towel. And something that's quite handy is to have a high bucket of water so that you can pour the water in, but also so you can rinse your hands, because it will get a bit muddy and then you can't touch things. So just a good tip. And don't forget a little cup. Something you want to keep in mind when you're making the mud ball is that the pot size is a good indication of how big you want to make your mud ball. Because if you make it too big, obviously you've got this tiny plant sticking out. And if you make it too small, you're going to get this big plant sticking out of the ball. Bear in mind, once you make the ball of mud, you will also add the moss on top of it. So it will add like 1 centimeter onto it. But it's a good idea to try and create a mud ball that's about this size. So we're keeping it there so that we can check the size. So that's why I'm using a cup. So let's try, I think. Let's add 5. So I'll chuck it in there. That should be enough. So you can probably see it's quite a bit of mud. Yeah, it's better to have more than less. And now I'll show you here. You pour in some water, but you don't want it to be extremely thin and wet. You want it to be sticky. Sticky is the consistency you want to go for. So just pour in a little bit. Yep, you get your hands in the mud. Break up the mud. Say goodbye to your nice nails. Yeah, this is good. So as you can see, I'm going to squeeze this. I've made a little ball. I'm squeezing pretty hard and a bit of water comes out, but not a lot. So that, you can hear it. Nice and squishy. So you start molding it around, pushing it in your palms together. And keep adding some soil. And then once you've got a good size ball, I mean, look at it, it's not the same size as the pot, it's too small. So you want to keep putting some more mud on it and checking that it's a good size. Now, I think I underestimated how much soil I have. I'll just show you. So it's becoming a bit difficult to grab. So I'm going to put in another 2 cups. It's like baking, isn't it? Maybe 3 cups. And this can take a while, so it's good for your arm muscles, really. Good boy, good boy. I think we're almost there. Okay, let's have a check. Yeah, perfect. That's about right. You could go a bit bigger if you want, but I wouldn't go smaller. I would say this is a good size or a little bit bigger, but we're going to stop there. So keep a bit of, clean a bit of space for your mud ball, and you want to keep your mud ball nice and wet in your bowl. It's handy if you're doing this outside, obviously, or you don't mind making a mess, that's fine too. So we want to move on to stage 2, which is preparing the moss. So I'm going to put all this away. So this is our sheet moss. As you can see, it's nice and firm. Not all moss is like this. This is just quite dry moss. To prepare the moss, basically we have to pull away all the little sticks and all the bits and pieces. You'll find all sorts of things in the moss, and depending on where you are based in the world, you will get different types of moss with different things growing in it as well. So you can probably see that there's little sticks really hidden inside, and also these tiny little sort of pine cone things. And the trick is to not tear the moss, but just to rub your fingers over and wriggle it out. So just wriggle it out. This can really turn into a mess, so vacuum cleaner's handy. That was a good one. It wasn't too messy. There usually can be a lot more pine cones and all sorts of things in there. Even sometimes, if you're lucky, a worm. So turn over the moss, and you will also find like little, what's that? I don't know, something natural. Just push the moss out, get it all nice. And sometimes you might find that some areas are higher than others, or uneven, you could say, and you just basically pull it away. You want to make it as flat as possible, just one surface, one flat surface. Pull out little things. Yeah, lucky for me, this is quite a good piece of moss, but you never know what you're going to get. Okay, well, I think it looks like a pretty nice piece of moss for me. Now we're going to prep our plant. So, you need a bowl or a rubbish bin, just something to put the soil in that's coming out of here. So the way to get the plant out of the pot, you don't have to be super gentle, but you do have to be a little bit firm. So, oh, yep, he came out easily. If it's too wet, the soil, it won't come out very easily. So it's better to have the plant in a dry soil when you pull it out. I'm grabbing the plant, so it's gentle grab, pull it out. And what we're going to do is basically crumble the soil away. So you just very lightly pull it away. Yeah, so just crumble it away. It's sort of this motion, just crumbling, whatever that is. So, okay, halfway, and you can see the roots are quite long. This is a great plant to make a kokedama with. Sometimes it's always different what you find. You find thick roots, all different types of roots, and it can be quite difficult to get the soil away. Don't stress out, it's fine. Just pull as much of the soil away from the roots as you can, and you can make a kokedama pretty much with any plant. So we're almost there. Look at that. Now, a trick to get the roots a little bit more clean is gently bang on the side, and the soil should fall away. And the drier the soil, the better. Look at that beautiful root base. That's a good looking root base. Oh, a worm, just as I said. There you go, without a doubt, one came out. So this is a good stage to now wrap our roots with sphagnum moss. So I'm gonna get that out and clean up a little bit. Sphagnum moss, and we want to use our natural cotton. It just needs to be a thin cotton that you can pull and it breaks off. So it doesn't hold the roots too tight. It lets the roots or the soil and everything expand a little bit. You know those little packets you get where you mend your clothes? One of those is fine, perfect, fantastic. So, sphagnum moss is, well, it's great. It's a moss that holds a lot of moisture, so it's really a real nice treat to put this around the roots, and it'll keep the roots really nice and moist. That's why I like to use it. So I'm just gonna get some nice pieces here. That'll do. And you take your roots, you just place it around and give it a little squeeze. So you can just give it a little mist. So we just pop it round to sort of the base of the plant. And then you take your cotton. I like to hold my cotton in my right hand. Here's a little trick with cotton. You pull it out. I'm not sure if you can see this. You pull it out and you kind of hold it there and just wrap very loosely around it. It's very loose. I'm just literally holding it. It's rolling through my fingers. You pull and snap. There you go. That's as loose as you want it. And now you can see it's just a nice, simple, thin, long line with some sphagnum moss. So we've prepped our plant. We need our mud ball and we need our moss that we prepared earlier. So we need some water to keep our hands clean. We are going to start compiling. Exciting. So you turn your moss over so that you obviously want the nice part of the moss on the outside, not the brown stuff. And we're going to get our moss ball and place it directly in the center of the moss. That way you can check now if you have enough moss to go all the way up to the top where the plant will sit. Also check, yeah, if we bend a little bit of the roots, the plant can fit nicely in there. I'm a big fan of working clean. Have I mentioned that? So the trick here is you want to make a hole in the moss, in the mud. And to do that, you want to cradle your little ball and with your thumb find the center. You're going to push it in. And now we kind of need to squeeze all the way around and make the hole bigger. It's kind of like a chameleon hand, like squeezing like this. Anyway, so I'll try to do it so I can show you. Now, at this stage, your mud ball might crack a little bit. Don't freak out. That's totally normal. Mine's already cracking. You can check to see if the plant goes in. Okay, mine is not deep enough because it's sitting like that. Right, that's good. So now, place the plant in. If you need to, like I said, bend up the roots, that's cool. Put it in there. Give it a little squeeze. And don't freak out that you've made this beautiful round ball and now it's totally not round. That's okay. That's okay. That is okay. Yes, look at that. Woo. So you've got a little bit of sphagnum moss poking out, fine. Okay, we're at a good stage now. This is great. Check again your moss. There's almost too much moss here, but you know. So, good tip. This is the moment you want your string. Like the other cord, the other one snapped off, and this one I am pulling and it cannot snap. I mean, it will snap at some stage, but I'm using a bit of strength. Can you see my muscle? No. So, yep, as we know, it bends up. We're going to, it's really important how you hold your thread because it can become very awkward. And I like to hold it, like I showed you before, with wrap it in between your fingers on one hand, and the other hand it needs to just roll loosely. Might need my scissors. Okay, so pretty much now you want the moss to be able to come all the way up. So I'm just going to try and figure out myself what to do here. It's a little bit of crafting here, squeezing, making sure it looks good. And I like to really get involved and push it against your body. It's the best way to do it. If your moss is really wet, I highly recommend putting some plastic between you and the plant, because you'll get covered in wet, which is fine if it's summer. So it's really important, you need a tail. Don't know if you can see that. It's very thin, a tail of the string. And the tail is important to make sure you never lose your tail, because that is what we're going to tie the whole thing up with at the end. So you pull a long piece of string, and let's just say the tail's here. So there's your tail. That's it. I'm going to start to just roughly wrap around the plant. And obviously you go over the tail so that it tucks it in. Here's my tail. And what I'm going to do with the tail is I'm going to put it in the leaves. Just wrap it in the leaves so that we can find it at the end. Now you can see that there's a little hole there. I think if I squeeze it enough, it will close. I prefer to not patch that with some more moss, but you can. You can put some more moss like this. A little bit, not too much, otherwise you get this big chunk. Turn it over, look how flat that is. No more round ball, but we're going to make it round. I'm starting to wrap from the top right of the plant across to the bottom left of the plant. I'm also squeezing it a little bit. This is a good spot to stop and check for your tail. There she is. So now we're at the last stage. We're at the final stage where we wrap the plant and make it all beautiful, as of our example. So first, a quick cleanup. Okay, so we're here. Now, you want to look at your plant and always check that it's not getting lopsided. So we want to make sure that the plant is in the center of the ball, and we are going to just do a little bit of squeezing. So sometimes, like I said, the base can get quite flat, but we want to make sure it's round. So you just, like we did when we made the moss ball, you just need to squeeze and shape your ball. So again, nice and round, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Checking the plant is in the center. It's not lying like this or whatever it does. Cool. Now I'm going to just trim back. Obviously we are trying to achieve this, so it's nice and low at the bottom. You can keep it nice and fluffy up here, but if you want this tight look that I've got going here, you need to make sure you don't cut your tail. Just dig in. Actually, it might just be better to pull it out yourself. Making sure your tail has not been lost. Your arms might hurt after a while, but this is the fun part. The detailing is always the thing that takes a bit of time. If you want it to be more round. Look at that little bit of mud. It's looking good. You want to get down, have a look at the side. Squeeze a bit more. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty okay for me. And so yeah, we're going to stop it there. You can cut your thread, find your tail without breaking the leaves. There she is. So now we have, I don't know if you can see, 2 tails. Woo! And we take that, cut it off. So now there's 2 tails. One is from the leaves and one is from before. And now we tie it off. So you take the 2 and you just give it a little tie. Double knot will do. There we go. Then you do a little snip. Voila! Woo! We got there. So, this is your Kokedama. Well, it's mine, but you can have one as well. So we finished making our plant, and you need to know how to care for it, of course. Important note is you do not ever want to overwater your plant. I mean, that's the first way of killing any plant. So the way to not do that is to make sure you water it at the right time. And by doing that, it's a little game of how it feels. So you have to pick up your plant, and if it goes woo and it's super light, that's a good moment to water your plant. If it's really heavy and you're like, oh, it's still a bit heavy, it means it's got a lot of water in there, so don't worry about watering it. Wait till it's light. And the way to water it when it is light, you need a bowl. Pour some water in the bowl. I've poured it about here, so about there on the plant, and just rest the plant in the bowl. And it might take 10 minutes, it might take half an hour, but once it's drunk all the water up, it will feel a lot heavier. And that's when your plant is drunk. So I'm gonna just do it for now. It will feel, oh, yep, that's had a bit of a drink. Pick it up. You gotta give it a good squeeze, get all the water out so it's not falling all over your table. And since we've made the plant, it's still a bit wet, but it will be like that after you've watered it too. Let it drip, and then you just place it down on your water-resistant little surface you've created. So that's it. So guys, we're at my favorite stage, the styling stage. And I've done some examples here for you. You can try them out at home. Everything here, the 3 items are sitting on a waterproof, resistant little bowl of some sort. Another way you can style your Kokedama is to hang it. We have hung it from the wall, but you can also hang it from the roof on a hook. Sometimes it also looks nice if you clump it in a group of 3. That could look really good. So that's how you make a Kokedama. Good luck making yours at home.